To understand communism and to understand the theory, structure, and history behind past and present communist regimes, you have to understand Lenin's addition to Marxism first. This is Marxism Leninism explained. In the last video, I explained how the state was established for the capitalist class, and how the two-party political system is corrupted and financed by them endlessly, and how the media is almost monopolized completely by them as well, meaning capitalists control the state, the government, and the media. We also went over dialectical historical materialism, the class war, and what socialism is. So with all this being said and known, we now have to ask ourselves, how will the construction of socialism be protected from capitalist sabotage and influence? And Lenin's answer to this question was through the formation of a Vanguard Party. You see, revolutionary momentum has the potential to drastically transform society, and it can be protected from capitalist hijacking, influence, and sabotage if socialist parties unite and lead the masses in a fight against the capitalist state. The goal is to replace capitalism with socialism by forming a one-party vanguard state led by socialists who use state power to empower the masses in their fight against capitalists and capitalism so we can develop socialism. Because without leadership and strategy, revolutionary momentum can be lost, sabotaged, or suppressed, which we have seen time and time again throughout history. The reason the Russian Red Army, the Chinese Liberation Army, and the Cuban Guerrilla Army, and all the other armed liberation fronts were successful in overthrowing their ruling classes and securing their positions was because they organized communist vanguard parties. They were then able to organize with the masses to overthrow ruling classes and defend themselves from imperialist sabotage, invasions, and civil war. And this was only able to happen because they were organized and spearheading revolutionary momentum. These people would have never succeeded without revolutionary leadership and strategy. And this is what Marxism Leninism is all about. It's about Marxism, the ideas of historical dialectical materialism, the class war, and socialism, and Leninism being the need for an organized and disciplined revolutionary party. A revolutionary party that can lead the working classes in their struggle against capitalism to get to socialism, to develop communism. They call themselves the Communist Party because they're committed to achieving communism through the development of socialism by using vanguardism. The belief being that vanguardism is the best way that we can overcome the capitalist state, their government, the monopoly on media, and their control over the economy. So we can protect the development process of socialism from capitalist sabotage, influence, or domination. So now that you know what the vanguard is, how is it formed? And who gets to decide who gets to be in it? Well, the vanguard is made up from the leadership from various socialist parties and socialist committees. And they're the ones who typically comprise the Communist Vanguard Party because they're the most influential, they're the most dedicated, and they're the ones who are already organizing with the working classes in their areas. So it only makes sense that they would be the ones to lead the vanguard. Now, the vanguard has the main role of doing these 5 things. One is to teach the working class by providing ideological and political guidance to help them understand the class struggle and their role in it. 2, they are to help unify the working class by breaking down racial, sexual, and classist barriers while also building alliances with other progressive forces to help build more momentum for the movement. 3, they are to organize revolutionary momentum and keep the working class a unified and disciplined force capable of overcoming capitalist propaganda and attempts of sabotage. 4, they are to organize the defense for the gains we make and organize the defense for the revolutionary government to protect it from counter-revolutionary forces. And 5, they are to play the central role when it comes to making key decisions about laws, policies, tactics, and strategies, making plans through democratic centralism. This is the goal of the vanguard. But what is democratic centralism? Democratic centralism is the organizing body of a socialist state, and a socialist state can be a collection of democratic institutions. But the main part would be a national assembly that is elected and recalled by the public directly. Assembling this allows the general public the ability to control and choose their own representatives who are tasked with channeling their interests and demands upwards from the base of society into the Communist Party. The Communist Party is to take the ideas of the masses, comprise them into plans, and debate them amongst all Communist Party leaders. They are then to hold a debate to determine which plans get put into action. Majority vote is what determines what plans get put into action, so any vote with 60% or more gets adopted, meaning everyone is expected to follow through and accept the results. And they do this to prevent the party from breaking up into separate groups. They do it to prevent separatism. This is known as unity of action, and in this matter, the Communist Party can take the ideas of the masses, turn them into plans, and return them to the masses while financing and subsidizing their development, so they can be developed by the people, for the people. This is historically how every Marxist-Leninist nation from the past to present has operated. As you can see, there is the Chinese Communist Party and the National People's Congress. There is the Cuban Communist Party and the National Assembly of People's Power. There is the Communist Party of Vietnam and the National Assembly of Vietnam. This is historically how every single Marxist-Leninist nation's government has been established and set up to work. It's a very democratic system overall. The part that is not so democratic, however, and is heavily debated amongst socialists and non-socialists, is the fact that historically speaking, the Vanguard was also the one who got to select, elect, and accept communists and socialists into the existing Vanguard Party, meaning they have total control, and still have to this day, total control over who gets in and gets kicked out of the party. This is why you hear people calling Marxist-Leninist nations communist regimes, because the Communist Party leaders had, and still have to this day, total control over political power, dictating who gets to join the Vanguard, meaning political power is only checked from within the Vanguard by its existing members. Now, if you have a genuine Communist Party, then yes, this gives them the ability to prevent counter-revolutionary or suspicious figures from obtaining political power and diverting or destroying the development of socialism, which is important. But on the other hand, the Vanguard's unchecked authority can also lead to a situation in which the Vanguard becomes a new ruling class, which is contrary to the goal of a classless society that socialists are seeking to create in the first place. You see, unchecked political power can most certainly lead to repressive policies, lack of civil liberties, abuse of power, and discontent amongst the public, being that laws and policies can be passed that go against the interest of the public, which is a very fair concern to have. I mean, this simple flaw can ultimately have a damaging effect on the longevity and stability of the Vanguard Party and the movement itself, which was basically one of the driving factors to how so many Marxist-Leninist states got dissolved in the first place. Because many people from within those societies began believing that the Vanguard Party, or the movement itself, had been abandoned or compromised, believing it did not serve their best interest anymore, believing socialism was betrayed, which led to protests, riots, and liberal reforms that destabilized the movements entirely. So now the question becomes, should the Vanguard have unchecked political power like movements of the past century and just be more concerned about public support? Or should the public have the ability to check, balance, and hold the Vanguard accountable so they can remove unwanted members? Because if the Vanguard was held accountable by the general public through the establishment of a citizens' court that's power is constitutionally placed above the Vanguard Party, then the public could hold popular votes through the citizens' court, and through majority vote, they could remove unwanted members from the Vanguard Party who don't align with their interest. And yes, this could have a negative impact on the intellectual leadership of the party itself, leading to populist leadership. But on the other hand, this could force and pressure the Vanguard to stay loyal to the demands and interests of the people, all while forcing them to continuously develop and expand the political consciousness of the people at the same time. This means they would have to maintain their trust and transparency with the public, so the construction of socialism could remain true to its principles and goals. Principles and goals being the expansion of political democracy, the expansion of economic democracy, and the expansion of institutional democracy. The whole point of this movement is to overcome capitalism and progress towards the development of a classless, stateless, moneyless society, which is what we'll go over next, the end goals of the Marxist movement. Stay tuned.